Logline. A tech worker struggles to find her way when the lockdown destroys her career. A cell phone chimed, announcing a new message. A female hand reached for the phone. Sue Taylor, 32, lived in a loft-style apartment in a high-rise building on the Embarcadero. It had a fabulous view of the Bay Bridge. She pressed the start button, logged in, and tapped the message icon. The message said, "Your job has been canceled." What the heck? She tapped the phone icon on the message. Her boss picked up. "What's going on?" she asked. "I'm sorry for letting you know this way," he said. "I just got the word in an email. I thought you should know sooner rather than later." 2 months earlier. One evening, Sue Taylor stood at the breakfast bar, eating Chinese food out of containers. She was reading emails on her company laptop, her constant companion. For a moment, she shifted over to her favorite news site and saw this headline, "Dangerous New Virus Emerging." She went back to reading emails. The next morning, while making copies, she chatted with a coworker, Marcy. "Have you heard about that new bug?" Sue asked. "No, what is it?" Marcy asked. "Some kind of flu." "That's a big deal." "Probably not. We have the flu every year." 2 weeks later, everyone in her company was told to work from home as much as possible. One evening, Sue checked in with her best friend, Emily. They had been friends since college. They had gone down different pathways. Sue had become a corporate woman. Emily had gone into bodywork and was more on the hippie side. "How is this work-at-home thing working out?" Emily asked. "I think I'm getting more done. At the office, there's always so much talking going on around me. It's hard to concentrate. I use conference rooms when I can, but other people have the same idea. A lot of my clients complain about these new style offices. Now they think of cubicles as the good old days. Yeah, this hoteling stuff is BS. Whatever they save in costs is lost in terms of productivity." The news about the virus got worse by the day. All the media was dominated by headlines on how contagious and deadly it was. The day came when the mayor ordered everyone to stay home. She said it would only be a couple of weeks to slow the spread. That evening, Sue and Emily discussed it on the phone. "I don't think it will be too bad," Sue said. "I can't see clients if they have to stay home," Emily replied. "I hadn't thought about that. Will you be okay? I can help you if you need it." "I'm okay for now. Thanks for offering." One morning, Sue woke up with a headache and cough. She called her doctor's office. They told her the doctor was not seeing anyone in person. She should go to an urgent care center if she felt she needed to see someone. She sent a text to Emily. Emily suggested she take some extra vitamin C, D, K, and zinc if she had them. Not being a health nut, Sue didn't have them. She made a quick trip to a nearby drugstore and bought bottles of each. Returning home, Sue called in sick, took some pills, and went back to bed. The next morning, she was better. 2 weeks passed, and the lockdown was not lifted. Sue checked in with Emily. "What the heck is going on?" Sue asked. "They said it would only be 2 weeks." "I don't know. Everything I read says this is not a serious illness for most people. You have to take a test to know if you have it. I can't see how this is justified." Okay. One day, Sue got a message from her boss. "I need to talk to you. Use the link in the email." Sue went to her email and clicked on the link. Zoom opened. "How's it going?" he asked. "Pretty well. The project plan is looking good. I still need to hear back from a few people." "About that project?" "Yeah. We have to cancel it." "Why?" "With people working from home, they don't see any reason to continue the 5G project." What happens when we go back to the office? We'll deal with that when it happens. What about my team? You have to lay them off. Sue bit her lip. How can I do that? I've worked with these people for years. Some of them are my friends. But don't worry, he said. There are other projects you can work on. When are you going to tell them? I know it's hard, but it's just the way it is now. Give me a moment to think. I've never had to do this before. I haven't had to do this since 2008. It made me sick to my stomach. It's best to just get it done rather than stewing over it. That just makes it worse. Can you do it for me? Sorry, you have to do it. It's part of being a manager. Can you set up a Zoom for this afternoon? He asked. I guess so. Before close of business. I'll check back later. Sue slumped on her couch, crying. After a while, she roused herself and went to her laptop. She opened the Zoom app, scheduled a meeting, and sent the link to her team. 2 hours later, she met them. Most of the people had serious expressions. They had heard rumors about other layoffs in the company. Sue started crying again. It took her a few seconds to compose herself. All of you are being laid off. I'm so sorry. She was answered with a chorus of whys and whats. I was told that the project is being canceled because people are working from home. Aren't there other things for us to work on? Someone asked. I wish there was, but you know that other teams are also being let go, all over the company. What are we supposed to do? Another person asked. We have families and bills to pay. I know. Maybe there will be some severance. Maybe you can get unemployment. Maybe things will get better soon and they will want you back. I'll help you any way I can. I have to end this now. Sue ended the meeting and flopped down on her bed, crying. For the next few days, Sue moped around her apartment, taking emails from her former colleagues and waiting for her boss to call with a new assignment. And then she got the message. She was in shock for hours. Nothing in her experience had prepared her for this. Why me? What have I done to deserve this? I've been a good worker. I did everything they asked and more. She had been in college when the mortgage crisis of 2007 hit. For her, it was something she heard about on the news. Her parents told her about friends of theirs who were surprised to learn that their houses were worth less than they had paid for them. Her friends told her about parents who had lost jobs after working for the same company for years. Her dad had his own business. He had to cut back but was still making ends meet. As things improved, the pain faded and something like normal slowly returned. When Sue graduated, a new internet boom had started. She got a good job as a developer at one of the big .com companies. After a couple of years, she jumped at the chance to shift to the management track. As she told Emily, I wasn't born to be a code monkey. She had moved up as the company grew, but her management file characterized her as a good follower with limited upward potential. Now all of that was gone. She called the HR office to ask about severance. She was shocked again when they told there wouldn't be any. The company was still bleeding cash at a high rate. The venture capitalists had told them there wouldn't be any more money if they couldn't show how they would become profitable. They couldn't. She went online to see about getting unemployment. The system wasn't working. She tried calling. The voice system said they were experiencing high call volume and then hung up on her. At that point, she made herself a cup of coffee and sat down to review her bank and credit card statements. She concluded she could get by for almost a year at her present level of spending. Surely things would get better before then. Using her phone, Sue ordered a laptop to replace the one she had returned to the company. Amazon delivered it a few days later. She created an account on Proton Mail and sent notices to Emily and her parents. Her dad called. "Good to see you have access again. How you doing, honey boo?" "Please don't call me that. You're still my little girl." "But I'm grown up now. Stop it." Okay, but seriously, how are you doing?" "Okay, so far." "How are you doing for money?" "I have enough to last for a while. I'm sure things will get better." "I hope so too, but this is a pretty bad situation. It could go on for months, even years." "Do you really think so?" "I've seen this before, in the 70s. It took years to recover. I can help you if you need it." "Thanks, I'll let you know." "What about your medical insurance?" "I had to lay off a few people, and they are telling me that even though COBRA is available, they can't afford it. I decided to help some of them, the ones with families." "I hadn't thought about that yet. Would you at least let me cover that?" She paused. "I guess that would be okay." "I'll send you a check. Do you know how much it is?" "It's about $500 a month." She checked in with Emily. "How's it going?" "I'm getting by." "If you can't see clients, what are you doing for money?" "My parents are helping, but most of their income comes from Social Security, so it's not a lot. I had some savings." "If you need to, you can move in with me." "Thanks. I'm not there yet. I like having my own place. I feel like I'm living in Groundhog Day. I have to look at my phone to see what day of the week it is." "I know how you feel. They said it would only be a few weeks, and it just goes on and on. What else are they lying about?" "Do you really think they're lying? Maybe this is more serious than they are telling us." "True. They never want to spook the herd. They always say, 'Remain calm. Help is on the way.' But the help never comes. They really mean, 'Remain calm. We'll pick up the bodies when we can.'" "You're so cynical." "I probably got it from my parents. My dad says he hasn't trusted the government since Vietnam." The lockdown continued to grind on day after day, week after week, and month after month. The streets of the city were plastered with posters telling people to stay home. The news was full of stories that painted a picture that got worse by the day. After a while, people began to tear down the posters as fast as they went up. The vaccine was released, and pressure mounted to get the jab. It was done through a campaign of propaganda and coercion that was unprecedented in world history. For the first few months after she lost her job, Sue treated her time as a forced vacation. She had worked very hard since graduating, and she decided she had earned some time off. But after a while, she got tired of spending her days watching YouTubes and movies. Staying in her apartment all the time was depressing. She was used to being out and about and traveling, so the sense of being in prison grew by the day. One day, she decided to call her old boss and see if he had any work for her. "Hey, Bill, how's it going?" "It's rough. Everyone who is still here is doing the work of 2 or 3 people. Some days I envy the people who were laid off." "Don't envy us. It's boring for me, but some of the Indians are having a terrible time. They can't go home because air travel is shut down, and they don't qualify for benefits because they aren't citizens. They're running out of money." "Sorry to hear that. None of us wanted this to happen. Anyway, the reason I called is to see if you need help with anything." "I need help with a lot of things, but there's no money for it. The company is running on fumes. If this goes on much longer, there won't be a company. We'll all be screwed." "Well, I thought I'd ask." "Sorry, nothing I can do about it. Have you tried looking for jobs with other companies?" "Not yet. I haven't felt motivated to do it." "Maybe you should start." On top of having no work, she also had no love life. During college, she had a few short-term relationships, but since college romance had been way down the list of priorities. Before the lockdown, she had had a friends with benefits relationship with a former executive of her company. He was the product of a very nasty divorce. One time when they were in bed together, she had asked if he ever wanted more from a relationship. She felt his body stiffen. Then he told her the story. She didn't bring it up again after that. When he wasn't available, she would sometimes meet guys through Tinder. Emily didn't think much of that. In one phone call, she said, "Do you actually sleep with those guys? Gross. I've had a few lovers, but they were never casual relationships. Sometimes they were painful in the end, but never superficial. I don't kiss them or go down on them, but sometimes I just need sex." Sue started working on her resume. She hadn't had to do that for a while because she had been with one company for 5 years. It was a little hard to remember all the things she had done, but she slowly got it into shape. Then she started responding to postings on various job boards. She got very few responses and fewer calls from recruiters. They would often say things like, "You have a very impressive background, but no one is hiring. I'm starving." At other times, they might say, "You have good experience, but the hiring manager wants to see that your day-to-day matches his requirements. Based on what I see, I can't submit you. Can you tweak your resume so it's a better fit?" Sue spent hours rewriting, trying to fit into various requirements without inflating her experience. It didn't do much good. Most situations had other requirements. Many postings had so many requirements that they were unlikely to find a real person to fill them. She suspected that those requirements were written to prove that some existing employee could not be replaced. She began to wonder if age discrimination began at 33. Her dad called to check in. "How's it going?" "Okay." "What do you mean by okay?" "Not great, but I'm surviving." "Is that enough?" "Not really. I'm afraid people in your generation are not well prepared for times like this. Sometimes I feel a little guilty about that, like I sheltered you too much. But parents always want good things for their children." "I'm not starving. I see people living on the street, and I'm a lot better off than them. Fact is, hard times come around every now and then. At least you still have us to help you if you need it." "I appreciate that, Dad. I have to get back to work. We have problems too." After a few months, Sue got tired of being cooped up inside. She started going out for walks. She walked down Market Street, looking at all of the shops that had been trashed during the BLM riots. Their fronts were covered with sheets of plywood. There were some that were undamaged, but they were closed and stripped of merchandise. All of her favorite restaurants and bars were closed. She peered in the windows and saw that some had been stripped of all the furniture and fixtures, gone for good. It was like being in a war zone. The streets that had thronged with people were empty, except for the homeless camps. She had to walk carefully to avoid the needles and poop. Once she saw a couple of people who looked like tourists. They looked amazed at the state of what had been one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Who would come here at a time like this? She checked in with Emily. "Are you still okay, financially?" "It's tight, but I'm still paying my bills, and the unemployment helps. I have a few clients who think this is all BS, and they're coming in for treatments in spite of the lockdown. Some of them are paying double. They want me around. They'll get it back in the future." "That's great. How are you doing?" Emily asked. "Okay, I finally got the unemployment started, but I'm not sure I can afford this apartment much longer. On the other hand, if I had a job, I'd be under a lot of pressure to take the vaccine. Some of my clients have quit rather than do that. Some of them work in biotech, and they know that the proper testing hasn't been done. Yeah, the news says that if you don't take it, you're going to kill Grandma. That's stupid. From what I can see, the damage is increasing every day. I'm beginning to think this city will never recover, or at least not anytime soon. I wonder about that too. I'm a California girl, but I'm not sure I can stay here. A lot of people and companies are moving to Texas. I may have to leave just to have a business. Moving to Texas? Nothing but hicks and rednecks down there. Not anymore. A lot of people are moving there to get away from the medical tyranny. Medical tyranny? That's a new one. What else would you call it? We have all of these unelected health officials micromanaging every part of our life. At the same time, we don't see that a lot of people are actually sick. I'm sure it's in our best interest. Why else would they do it? You seem to be buying the propaganda hook, line, and sinker. I don't think it's propaganda. I think it's just the news. Do you remember when they said it would just be for 2 weeks to slow the spread? Yeah. And how long has it been? A year and a half. And you don't think they lied about how long it would last? I'm sure they had a good reason for extending it. Any idea what that is? Not really. Sue sat at her breakfast bar. She opened her laptop and brought up the calculator on her phone. She laid her bank and credit papers in a neat row and studied them. She still had $40,000 in checking and $50,000 in CDs. She owed a few hundred on her credit card with a $20,000 limit. Her unemployment was $4,000 per month. Some people would think that's a lot of money, but not with my cost of living. At least I have some time to think about it. Sue looked at each item in her checkbook and credit card statement and asked herself whether the amount was necessary or not. She could see that she was still spending money as if things were normal. But things aren't normal. She did a search on her computer for ideas on how to control her expenses better. One of the main pieces of advice she found was to keep a list of everything she spent so she knew where it all went. That seems easy enough, a lot less painful than taking a meat axe to my spending. Later, she rummaged through her papers and found the letter telling her about stock she was given by the company. She called the HR department and nervously tapped her fingers as she waited. "This is Jeannie," a voice said. "How can I help you?" "This is Sue Taylor. I used to work for the company." "Let me pull you up." Pause. "Okay, how can I help you?" "I remember getting a letter about a stock award. I'm thinking about selling it." "Let me check with someone about that. I'll call you back." Minutes passed. Finally, a call. "What's the verdict?" Sue asked. "I'm sorry, but that is pre-IPO stock. You can't sell it." "Damn, sorry. I was hoping for better news." "We're getting a lot of calls about that, but those are the rules." "Thanks for checking." Sue stood up and paced around her living room, stopping to look out at the bridge. "I don't want to give this up, but I may have to." Her dad called. "How's your situation?" "It won't last forever." "What won't?" "The lockdown. When it ends, things will go back to normal." "I certainly hope so, but I was asking about your money situation." "I can hang on for a while." "How long is that?" "I can keep paying my rent for at least 6 months." "Then what?" "I'll figure that out when I get there." "You can take that approach, but it's risky." "If you say so." "Well, it is. I think you should be working on some kind of plan B." "What's that?" "That's what I mean about people your age. You've had it so good for so long, you think it will never end. But sometimes it does end. This may be one of those times. You still haven't told me what plan B is. What is it? Whatever you think it is, it's what you'll do if things don't get better. But I'm not going to do that thinking for you. You have to do it. Thanks a lot. Sarcasm noted, but seriously, you have to make a plan for yourself. We'll be here to help you financially, if you need it, but you have to do the work.